You might have to adjust it a little bit. It's not showing the right thing.
Okay.
Hi there, everybody. Welcome. Give me just a second to get set up here so I can see your comments. I hope you're having a good Saturday. I hope that you did not have severe weather where you are. I know it was expected in a large swath of the country. Let's see. Looks like you can see my counter, so you can see what I'm cooking. You can see my husband's elbow over there. If he leans in just a teeny bit, he can wave and say hello. He's going to be moderating for me tonight, but hopefully we will not have any trouble like we did last time. So it's Saturday, January 11th, and I've had enrollment open all week in the Autoimmune Free Cooking Club, and today's the last day, so I wanted to come on and give you a chance to ask any questions about that or just chat with me. I would love to just say hi, and I'm also going to make dinner. Thank you. That was bad timing. So we share a newspaper subscription with my parents, and they get it and then they bring it to us almost every day. So that was my dad delivering the newspaper. Perfect timing. So I'm going to make for you just a real simple dinner tonight. We're making chicken salad, and to go with that I need some homemade mayonnaise, and let's see, what else do I have? I just got a veggie platter back here, so I'm going to make the mayonnaise, and I'm going to use part of it in my chicken salad, and then I'm going to use part of it to make some ranch dip for the veggies, and that's just some leftover gluten-free bread back there in case somebody wants that for a roll with their chicken salad. So I'm going to show you how to make boneless, skinless chicken breasts in the Instant Pot, and there are tons of recipes, tons of methods. Of course, the Instant Pot people tell you how to do this. It's really kind of hard to get good results with just cooking boneless, skinless chicken breasts in the Instant Pot. They're either dry or rubbery or undercooked. And I found one source that I really trust. The website's called the Detoxinista, and I can link that below in the notes. But I've used some of her recipes before, and she had a lot of great information about how she tested the best method for cooking her chicken. And so I saved myself the trouble, and I am following her instructions, the results of her testing, and we're going to do it her way, and hopefully it's going to turn out really well. So if you're here, leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. So I just have two boneless, skinless chicken breasts, and this is pretty typical. I don't know if you can see, but one is really big and one is really small. This was one of those packages from Costco, and it was 1 1/4 pounds, so just slightly over a pound. And I'm going to put this trivet. So your Instant Pot should have come with a trivet. It might look a little different than this, but you should have one. And that just goes right in the bottom of a cup of water. You could cook in broth, you could cook in different liquids, but I'm just using water because I'm making chicken salad with it, so I want to keep the flavor pretty plain. So in goes my chicken, just right on top of that trivet. I know some people like to, let me get rid of this, cook a whole bunch of chicken, you know, fill it up and have all that protein ready for the week. But from what I understand, I haven't done it because I can't eat leftover protein very well. But what I understand is that it's really hard to get even cooking if you cook a whole bunch with really anything. Like I've seen people fill it up with eggs to hard boil, and some are going to be overcooked in that scenario. So same thing with the chicken, ideally a single layer. Okay, I just Clorox wiped my counter and my hands. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little salt over those and a little pepper. Do y'all remember Emeril Lagasse back in the early days of the Food Network? And he was really always big on, you gotta flip your food over. You don't want one-sided tasting food. So I'm only seasoning this one side. But Emeril, if you're watching, I know. It'll all get seasoned when we mix it in to the chicken salad. And that's it. And it might seem like a lot, but we're going to cook for 10 minutes. So I'm going to put my lid on, move that gasket over to sealing, manual, and 10 minutes. That's exactly what I want. So Detoxinista said, yeah, 10 to 15 minutes. So 12 was kind of her sweet spot. 10 if your chicken was smaller, or you didn't have a lot of volume. 15 if you had like conventionally raised chicken breasts, really big ones. So we went with the 10 because it was just a little over a pound and they weren't that big. So we're just going to let that go, and it'll take a few minutes to come up to pressure, but not that long because there's not that much volume in there. And then we're going to do a quick release, which I know people say to do a natural release with meat, but again, I'm following this other person's instructions and I trust her. So hopefully that's going to work out well. Hey Pretty, I'm glad you're here. I was hoping you would pop in. I love it whenever I post a new video and Pretty always says, God bless you always. It's just so sweet and encouraging. I love that. So I made a whole video on just how to make them homemade mayonnaise. I don't know, years ago. But I'm going to do it again because maybe you haven't gone back and looked through all those old videos. And I know it's the new year. A lot of people are doing detoxes and Whole30 and stuff. And so you can't have the inflammatory oils. And you shouldn't have them anyway because they cause inflammation in your body. So I'm talking about canola oil and sunflower oil and vegetable oil, all of those. So we want to make our own mayonnaise at home with a good quality oil. I'm using avocado oil because it's just a very neutral taste, so that's my preference. Sometimes I'll use a really light olive oil and that works well too. So we can make this at home for about between 2 and 3. So that's definitely the way you want to go. So my egg is at room temperature. All of my ingredients are actually at room temperature. That's the trick to getting homemade mayonnaise to work. So I put 1 egg in here. And I'm going to make it for you real time, so it's going to be a little loud, and I apologize for that, but you'll see how fast it is. So I'm using my stick blender or immersion blender. You can use a regular blender or a food processor. I would use a mini food processor if you have that. It's just because you don't have a large volume, it's a little easier with the smaller one. But use what you have. And you can, of course, do this by hand, but that takes a lot of strength, and this is super fast and easy. So I just poured about 1/4 of the oil in with my egg, and I'm going to get that going. I'm going to add some Dijon, some lemon, and salt at the end for flavoring, and pepper. So then you just want to real slowly drizzle in the oil. Wasn't slow, was it? But I want to show you that it will work. You don't have to just take forever to drizzle it all in. I don't know what that was. There was a little black something in there. You know, sometimes your egg has a like a little blood spot in it. I think that's what that was. So I'm going to clean this, but I'm going to unplug it first so I don't accidentally blend my fingers. So what did that take? 1.5 minutes, maybe 2 minutes, super fast. And you see it got nice and thick. And like I said before, we just love to make a lot of noise here. The only times I've had my homemade mayonnaise not work, and I've probably made it 100 times or more, I mean I make it all the time, was when I tried to do it with a cold egg. So if you're in a super big hurry and you forgot to get your egg out of the fridge to warm up, you can just put it in your bowl, run hot tap water over it, and let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes, and it'll warm up and it'll still work. Leave it away. So now I'm going to add a little Dijon. It's ideal if all of your ingredients are at room temperature, but as long as the egg, and of course your oil is probably going to be at room temperature. I'm about out of mustard. As long as your egg and your oil are room temp, you're going to be fine. Okay, so that's up to pressure. My little floater is up, and again, it just took a couple minutes. So that was about a half a teaspoon of Dijon, and I want a little, just a squeeze. You don't have to measure this, and then you can taste it and see what you like. You might like extra lemon. That's a very seedy lemon. Oops, I dropped some in. That's not a big deal. So the thing about doing these videos live is that when we're not live, I take a break. I wash my hands all the time, and my video editor extraordinaire cuts all of that out. And so when we're doing it live, sorry, you have to see the back of me occasionally while I wash my hands. Pretty, if you're still there, how are you doing? How is your new year going? Tell me if you have made any health goals for the year. If you want to, I would love to know how it's going for you. That's 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt and just a little pepper. I usually use the mayonnaise in something. I'm making salad dressing or something with it. It's not like we're eating sandwiches all the time, so you know what I mean? So my mayonnaise is almost always getting turned into something else, so I don't really have to worry about seasoning it a whole lot. Let's see. So I wanted to come on live today because the Autoimmune Free Cooking Club is open for enrollment through today. So what that is, if you haven't already heard me talk about it, it is a membership with functional medicine, health coaching, and lots of recipes and resources and accountability and encouragement for people who want to manage their chronic disease with diet and lifestyle. That's functional medicine. So what you eat, how you're getting daily movement, how well you sleep, manage your stress, supportive relationships, environmental toxins, all that kind of stuff. That all plays into functional medicine. And so I've been a functional medicine health coach for a year now and going on my 2nd year. And there's just so much power in it. And it's a little cost prohibitive for a lot of people, just like functional medicine in general. And so this membership at $29 a month is a really low cost way for you to get the community and to get tons of resources and support from a functional medicine certified health coach to help you. So people who this might not be for would be somebody who's just like super motivated on their own. Like if you are a really determined person and you make up your mind that you're going to do something and then you just do it and you are always successful, you probably don't need this kind of support. If you love to really dig into the research and the science and figure out what you need to be doing to manage your disease, you probably don't need me. If you're brand new, like maybe you just heard about the paleo diet or autoimmune paleo, and you're starting to think, oh, that might be good for me, but like I said, you're brand new and you will need a lot of hand holding, then this is probably not for you. You would need the private health coaching. But who would it be for? Those of you who know that you want to live this lifestyle, but you do need some support. You do want somebody knowledgeable to be available to answer your questions. You want the community support of like-minded people. So there are a lot of groups on the internet for every condition. I belong to several of them for Crohn's disease because that's the disease that I have. And there's just a lot of bad science being tossed around. There are a lot of bad ideas. There's a lot of really unhelpful information, you know, like somebody will post, oh, I was just diagnosed with Crohn's disease, you know, talk to me. They just want to have some support, and people will just give these horror stories about how awful their life is. And that poor person who is brand new and struggling really needed to hear that there's some hope, and they're not getting that from some of these groups that are not super well moderated. So anyway, with the Autoimmune Free Cooking Club, you get people who are supportive, who are already on that path of managing their health with diet and lifestyle. And so it's all positive. It's not, oh, you know, here's my sad story to go along with your sad story. We're building each other up and offering solutions and that kind of thing. So if you're somebody who really likes to talk science and have other people to, you know, to bat around ideas with, then this might be good for you. If you know this is what you want to do, but you just need some resources, you need reliable, consistent recipes, this will be a great group for you. I post a new recipe every single week to our group that's private for our group. So, you know, I try to publish weekly on YouTube, so then it would be twice the recipes. And actually more, because I don't always put one up every week on YouTube, and that's not going to be sustainable for me to come up with 2 new recipes every week. So I'm coming up with new content for you guys here. So we'll be doing some grocery store trips, and this is what I eat in a day, this is what we eat in a week, here's, you know, my meal plan for the week, because I see that that is helpful for a lot of people. So I'll be doing some more of those kind of lifestyle videos and not all recipes, because I just can't. I just can't. And honestly, you know, our life has changed a little bit in that my son has gotten a job that feeds him usually. And so that's typically 3 nights a week that he's not eating with us. And so we are having 1 or 2 meals a week of leftovers. Hey James, I'm glad to see you. Thanks for commenting. So anywho, that's the membership. It only opens about quarterly because I want to give those new members each time an opportunity to form a community and feel comfortable. And I feel like if new people were constantly coming in, we meet together weekly for 20 minutes. It's just a short amount of time for some coaching and then Q&A. And if we always had new people, we'd spend that whole 20 minutes getting to know the new people every week. And so that's why I only open quarterly. However, there is a recipe only level of the membership now, so you can have access to all the recipes on my website, which is hundreds of them, and they are all gluten-free. Most are paleo, a lot are autoimmune paleo. So if you're looking for really good, family-friendly recipes that are going to help you maintain this lifestyle long-term, then I have the recipes for you. So Chris Hines is my husband. He's moderating for me tonight. So that's who that Chris Hines guy is, who's answering and putting out all the links and stuff. So thank you to Chris for taking care of that. So my chicken is cooking down, and I'm going to go ahead and put a little mayo in my bowl for my chicken salad. So I like kind of crunchy stuff in my chicken salad. I like my chicken to be set up really small, but I like other crunchy stuff. So I have some red grapes and some celery, and I have some pecans that I've toasted, and I'm going to put those in at the end because I don't want them to get soggy. So I put in not quite half of that mayo, and then I'm going to put some in this bowl and turn it into ranch. So I have a recipe. I don't know that I have it on YouTube, but it's definitely on the website for a ranch dressing, and then also just a ranch seasoning mix that you can use to make dressing, or you can use you know, seasoned chicken or fish or that kind of thing. So I'm just going to make up some quick ranch right here with the flavors that I like. So that was some coconut aminos, which is like our paleo version of soy sauce, so we don't include soy. James says he just bought me an Instant Pot a few months back, just here watching and learning. Thanks for asking. Well, welcome, James. I hope you are enjoying your Instant Pot so far. I will tell you that the pot roast video that I made very first thing with my Instant Pot was not very successful, and I don't really even like pot roast. So that was probably not very smart of me to make that first, because I didn't want to use it after that. So it took me a while. That's been three years now. Um, um, I'm reading Chris's comment. He says, I've eaten every one. That sounds like you've eaten people. Make sure you're really careful about what you're saying there. The internet, can't read your mind. Um, but the more I used it, the more I got used to it and figured out what it did well. And now I use it, 2 or 3 times a week, kind of minimum. I've just been experimenting with some different types of recipes, and I've had a couple big Instant Pot failures lately. That's good. I want a little bit more garlic salt. I was making, so a couple people asked for a broccoli, cheese, and rice casserole. And so I put chicken in it to make it a 1-dish meal, and I made it in the oven. It was great, but it takes an hour to cook. So let me make this in the Instant Pot. It did not work. It kind of gummed up on the bottom. So I couldn't just take that same recipe that went in the oven and say, let me just put this in the Instant Pot. It did not work. Gregory says, I like your pot roast number 3. You know what, Gregory? You're right. That was my favorite one. And what did I do in that one? I said, I'm not following a silly recipe. I'm making this the way my grandma would have made it. And it was much better. So I think sometimes we try to think outside the box and, do something new, which is not a bad thing to do something new, but it's also good to just trust your instincts and go with your gut. And that certainly turned out well in that regard. And I threw away my lemon, and I really need a little bit of lemon juice in my ranch dressing. So I'm just gonna let this go like it is for now, and I'll put some lemon juice in the end, and we'll get this in the fridge, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine to sit out here for a few minutes. Oh no, here's my lemon right here. Let me know if you have questions, James, if you just have any questions about your new Instant Pot. I know mine's 3 years old, and I know they've redesigned them some, but you can still buy this exact one, and I really like it. I highly recommend it. If you're watching because you're considering getting an Instant Pot, first of all, I would say get one if you think you would use it. And I love the 6 quart. So if you are feeding a really big family, and you have the space to store it, then consider the 8 quart. I really think the 6 quart is going to work for most people. And it's not tiny, and it's also not pretty, although somebody has made covers that you can put on them to make them look a little prettier if you want to leave it on your counter. I just rearranged my pantry and made space so I could keep it out of sight, because that's my preference. Gosh, what was I saying, honey? About being new to the Instant Pot.
Yeah, Gregory asked if you made pulled pork.
Yeah, I've made a couple versions of pork. So probably our favorite I call carnitas, and it's just real simple. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I think I rubbed the meat with probably garlic powder, onion powder, salt and pepper, paprika, maybe something really simple like that, and cooked it in some chicken broth. It is delicious. Now I don't use a pork loin. That's too lean. I don't think it tastes good. It doesn't have a nice texture. But when you use a pork butt or a pork shoulder, oh, it's so good. And I also have one called sweet and savory pulled pork, where you make this sauce on your stovetop. It's like a slightly Asian sweet barbecue sauce. We actually had that for Christmas. That's how much everybody likes it. And then you just cook the pork in, I think, broth with maybe garlic salt on it. It's something very simple like that. But the video's up there. And both are really, really good. And then you can also do just a traditional, so I live in the South in North Carolina, so we do a vinegar-based barbecue. That's what's traditional here. You can just cook your pork in some water with vinegar, a little salt and pepper, some chili flakes if you like that. and make just classic pulled pork, and then you can put whatever barbecue sauce you want on it on the side. So yeah, I have a couple of those recipes. Look for those. I think the Instant Pot, like I told you, I don't really like pot roast very much. That's just my personal taste. But I love a really good tender pork roast, and it's excellent in the Instant Pot and so fast. I mean, it's like an hour, but compared to 4 to 6 hours in your oven or stovetop or crock pot, it's a lot faster. Something else that I love in the Instant Pot are short ribs, like a sort of balsamic glazed short ribs. They're so good because that pressure just makes the meat super, super tender. Now I'm wishing we weren't having chicken salad tonight. I'm wishing we were having carnitas or something like that. So let me know if you have questions. The Instant Pot is great for making bone broth. I know, all these things are trendy right now. Keto is trendy. Instant Pots are trendy. Bone broth is trendy. And I'm really happy about it because people can get a lot of health benefits from some of these trendy things, and bone broth is one of them. It's just super healing. Again, it's back to that grandma thing when, oh gosh, it didn't beep on me. I'm gonna let the pressure out. When you're sick, your grandma would give you chicken soup. There's a reason for that. So when you cook I usually do chicken just because I can't usually get good beef bones, or they're very expensive. So I'll make chicken bone broth and just cook it for 2, sometimes even 3 hours, and extracts all the minerals out of the bones and everything. It's really, really good, especially good if you can add either a bunch of chicken wings or a turkey wing, something or feet. If you can get feet or beaks, something like that, which depending on where you live in the country, those are easy to come by or not so easy to come by. And that adds a lot of collagen to your broth, which is excellent. Okay, so, a lot of people tell me, they leave comments and say, you can put that lid in the handles, and you're right. You're absolutely right. This version of the Instant Pot has this feature where the lid will rest right in here, but I don't do it just so I can get the lid out of the way, so it's not in your way to see what I'm doing. But you're right. Thank you all for leaving those comments and telling everybody else. So here's my chicken, which of course looks beautiful and springy. So again, Detoxinista, whose recipe I was following, said to let the chicken rest for 5 minutes. So I want to do that, so I do this correctly and get the best results. But I can tell from looking at it that it looks good, it feels good. You can tell if meat is going to be dry or kind of tough and chewy, and this one looks good. So let me look over my comments and see if there's anything that I need to respond to. Chris is really good at putting up lots of links and stuff. So while I'm waiting for a comment, I'll tell on him just a little bit. When we were first dating, which was 18, 19 years ago, he would, we worked actually at different companies, but on the same street. So we worked close together and we went out to lunch together a lot. But I had come from, I don't know if texting was new or whatever, but I didn't text a lot. I was a contractor at that job, so I had to be kind of careful about what I did on the internet. And I might, text him once, or he might text me once, and I would respond. And then I would have like 20 messages from him. And it's like on and on and on. I was like, stop it. I'm going to get fired. Stop it. I know you're a fast typer, but it was too many messages. So this is reminding me of that right now, just seeing his name and all these little messages. But he's doing a good thing. He's giving you links to the videos that I have mentioned. Yeah, I make my meal plan for the week on Saturday mornings and then go grocery shopping. And I'm wishing now I had the carnitas on my meal plan for this week. But what I really like with carnitas are homemade plantain chips. And I was going to make them actually with this because I thought the chicken salad would be really good on the plantain chips. But you really need green plantains, or that's what I prefer, green plantains. I don't like the yellow ones. They're really sweet. And I haven't been able to find any. It's one of those funny things, like when I'm not looking for them, they'll be everywhere, and then when I'm looking for them, I can't find them. So I've got 2 more minutes I have to wait. I'm going to go ahead and put my pecans in here. So you can add whatever you like to your chicken salad. I kind of like things real basic. I don't tend to put in a lot of herbs and different spices, but you can absolutely do whatever you want. Dill would actually be really good in this. I'm going to go ahead and toss this together. Then all I have to do is add the chicken. When I am getting my deli meat sliced, we usually get, Whole Foods has this really good uncured pepperoni. So whenever we make pizza at home, I'll buy that. And so I'm standing there at the counter waiting for them to slice the pepperoni, and I'm looking at all their prepared foods in the case. And they have this Sonoma chicken salad that's basically this chicken salad with grapes and I think pecans in it. And people love it. I mean, as I'm standing there waiting, people, are continually coming and buying that chicken salad. And it looks awful to me. It sort of like has this, it looks like a film over it. You can just tell it's been there for a little while. It's like, this is not a complicated thing. Let's make chicken salad at home. But I was like, oh, chicken salad, that's a great idea. I never make chicken salad. So I decided that would be our dinner tonight. So I sliced a small one to make sure it's cooked and not overcooked. It certainly doesn't look overcooked. Let me slice the big one right through the thickest part. I would say that this big one is just done. It's not overdone, and it's not pink, but it's not like it could have had maybe 1 more minute, and 1 minute less it would have not been cooked. I'm gonna give this a taste. Both are really good. To be completely honest, I don't like white meat. It doesn't have a ton of flavor. I know a lot of people really like it. I much prefer chicken thighs. When I'm, planning our meals, I almost always plan to use chicken thighs because we all prefer them. They're less expensive. They have slightly more iron, which I'm always in need of more iron. And it's just my preference all around. But this is really good. So I would say, I'll link again to the Detoxinista page, but about a pound or whatever you can fit in one layer. Put a cup of water in the bottom, use your trivet, lay your chicken on top, season it if you want to, or don't season it. If you're going to use it in something else that's getting a lot of seasoning, don't worry about seasoning it. 10 minutes, up to 15 if your chicken is really big. And high pressure, quick release the pressure, and let it rest for a few minutes before you cut it or serve it. So I told you my Instant Pot was not beeping. There's a way to turn the sound off, and I did that in my Instant Pot 101 video, and then I turned the sound back on, but it hasn't been the same. Sometimes it makes some noises and sometimes it doesn't. It definitely doesn't make all the noises that it used to. And so I might need to get on the line with the Instant Pot people and find out why that might be the case. If you have the new Instant Pot air fryer or the lid Instant Pot, I'm pretty sure Instant Pot made one. I know that other brands have made a lid that fits on the Instant Pot brand to be used to turn your Instant Pot into an air fryer. Let me know what you think of it. I've watched probably too many videos about the air fryers to try to decide if they were going to be something that I wanted to invest in, which, I thought about doing it just from a video perspective to, give you some instructions. But when I watch those videos, I just think it seems like something that you would make in your oven more easily without having to have another gadget that you're buying and storing and maintaining. So if you have an air fryer, particularly the Instant Pot one, because it is the one that I've seen with the best reviews, let me know what you think of it. Does it do something different than your oven? That's kind of what I'm curious about. Okay, so I'm just slicing my chicken, getting it in here. Any last questions, let me know. You can always leave comments on the video and I will come and answer your questions. The only time I don't respond to comments is when they are mean-spirited. If they're inappropriate, I just delete them. But if they're just somebody just trying to cause trouble, I don't respond. A lot of times I'll try to respond and share some information. But some people really like to debate, and I don't have time for that. I'm not going to engage in a debate with somebody on the internet about, you know, why I put grapes in my chicken salad, for example. You know, I put them in because I like them. You don't have to. So any normal comments and questions I will happily respond to, and usually within 24 hours. So don't hesitate to ask me if you have a question about a recipe. I'll get back to you just as quickly as I can. This looks so yummy. I know some people would not like it warm. That's not going to bother me. And I want to taste it. It's really good. Let me turn this off. It needs some salt, but it has the sweetness from the grapes and it's crunchy. I could probably have a little bit more pecans in there. My pecans were really crunched up because I chopped them for a recipe and I just had extra, so I just used those. But if you had your pecans in a little bit bigger pieces, it would just have a different texture. I think I might like that a little bit better. Have to go. Thanks for the help. Have a good day. Thanks, Gregory. Thanks for stopping in. Good luck with your Instant Pot. I hope you like it. If you make some pulled pork, let me know. Good. Love it. So simple. So good. So again, we have chicken salad. I have my veggie platter with my ranch dressing, which I didn't taste after I added that lemon juice. So good. Yeah, I needed that lemon juice. Very fancy gluten-free rolls and a hot dog bun. Hey, that's real life, people. We're trying not to waste food around here because good quality food is really expensive. And so I don't want to waste it. So we sometimes have random stuff. And my kids love something like this. It feels like snacky, like an appetizer. They love it. If this is the salad, and look how colorful it is. So it's healthy. It was easy to put together, fun, everybody likes it. Perfect. So thanks for tuning in tonight. This was fun. I will hope to do this more often. I need to have a moderator, so if my husband is not home, I will be asking one of you who's on to moderate for me, just to keep any crazy people out, should that ever happen again. And if you want to see me cook something live, let me know. Make a request. I'm going to keep working on that. Broccoli and rice, other people make it in the Instant Pot, but their recipes are not working for me, and then my own made up recipe didn't work either. So I'm going to get that figured out. Hope you have a great weekend, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks, everybody.